Negan wants to come home. Eugene and Ezekiel leave town. Carol is haunted by Alpha, and Beta is haunted by becoming Alpha. Plus, COVID-19 takes out the zombie apocalypse. It's been a hell of a week, folks. It's The Walking Dead, Season 10, Episode 14. Look at the flowers. Hey everyone, D here, and welcome to this week's review of The Walking Dead. So yes, of course, spoilers coming your way. Also, do want to remind you about our quick jump index system. Right in the description below, we'll have this entire review titleized, time-stamped. You can jump to the end of the review first. You can watch the beginning last. You can watch this review in any order you'd like. All right, so before we get into things, yes, COVID-19 has taken out the zombie apocalypse. So what I mean by that is, of course, there is no season finale this year. The Season 10 season finale is delayed due to the coronavirus epidemic and the lockdown here in LA and everything else going on. I need to do a lot of stuff in Georgia too. Basically, they can't finish the post-production. They can't finish putting all the show together and putting all the bells and whistles on. So, next week's episode, episode 15, will effectively be the season finale. Well, it's going to be the end of the season. And then the final episode, the real season finale, is going to be shown later on this year. Definitely before season 11 starts. So probably floating sometimes in the summer. Let's say a month, 6 weeks out, depending on how long all of this goes down and how much more work they've got to do to finish getting out that episode. So, yes, next week will be the end-ish of this season, but the finale is shot, is done. It just needs to be finished, and they will put that out as soon as they are able to. So, I'll let you guys know. I'll put out some notices as soon as I hear anything. All right, so let's get to the review itself. And, you know, I really liked this episode. I enjoyed it. It wasn't giant and flashy and stuff like this. We didn't have the big kills and explosions and battles and stuff like that we've had before. But it was a good, solid episode. It was a good one of those good cleanup episodes where we're dealing with all of, you know, the residual kind of fallouts for everything. And that can get a little sappy sometimes. That can get a little bit of a drag down. But I think they had enough good story points. They were really able to work this out. Negan and Daryl is a duo I didn't know I wanted, but I really like the two of them together. In fact, I kind of wonder if Daryl, Negan, and Carol are going to be the new, well, Rick, Michonne, and Daryl. We're shifting things. I'm kind of curious about that. I'm serious. I want to see how that's going to sort of play out. Carol, you know, she's been hunted, and this is something that she has gone through before. We have seen episodes where Carol she does the big badassery stuff, and then she goes away and freaks out. And this was kind of her episode for that. There were some really nice scenes between her and Samantha Morton, between her and Alpha's ghost, which I really liked. But there were a few points of that where I thought it started going a little too long. They're hitting this a little too much, you know. Sometimes less is more. The Eugene Ezekiel stuff, again, nice. Not a whole lot of things. We just get a little bit of, you know, Eugene letting everyone else going on. We get the little Nico Magda final split, which was nice. Sort of settled that out. And, of course, a lot of symbolism with Ezekiel as this kind of possibly being his final mission, his final journey to go out and maybe, you know, as a gift, as the final gift to the king, be able to open up the kingdom for everyone else. You know, that kind of idea. That was really nice. And then, of course, Beta dealing with the whole aspect of him now becoming the new Alpha and sort of going back through his past. We get to see him as his, you know, as the band leader and sort of reabsorbing that. So there was a lot of really good character stuff, I think, that they worked on this episode. Not huge action, not anything like that. But again, good character moments. I wasn't bored with the episode at all. I was really enjoying what they were doing with things, and it definitely got me pumped for what is coming next. And isn't that really what an episode wants to do? All right, we're going to do things a little differently this time, and we're going to start out with our Scene of the Week for this week, and that is because it is the opening scene. Carol breaking Negan out of jail. I loved it for a lot of different reasons. One, two great actors doing great scenes together, okay? Always a good basis for a scene of the week. But it's our setup. You know, all of what we've had going on kind of this season is based in this moment right here. And so we're really curious, how was that going to come off? How was that conversation going to overlay? And it was, again, it was beautiful. We have Carol, badass Carol. Okay, not emotional freak out Carol. She's holding it here. And this is the Carol I like to see. And we have Negan, again, being very straight. I love the dynamic, how Carol's trying to tempt him out, and Negan is very clear and straightforward with his view of the community. That he is in no way interested in endangering anyone and bringing messes back here. That he is perfectly happy sitting in his cell. I mean, okay, not perfectly happy sitting in his cell. He definitely wants to get out. But not at the cost of the community, not at the cost of lives. It's a really important moment to set where everybody was going off on all of this. So it traces all of the actions and stuff that we've seen over the season. Again, based right here. And if they didn't sell it right, it would cheese everything up. But they didn't. It was direct, it was straight, everyone pasted their positions. Negan reticent to trust and put people in danger, but also wanting to be the person that saves them. He is, I mean, again, the idea of the Saviors was saving people. It has changed and adjusted. And of course, he's got rules. But it was just sort of a perfect way of doing it. And also, again, even his reticence of like, well, how am I going to get back? You're going to stand up for me, you know? And Carol's like, look, they all remember what you did before, and there's no way to do it. But you do something new. You save their butts. You take out Alpha. That's what they're going to remember. Which is very true. So it was a beautiful setup for everything that was to come. Now, it was followed up by the now scene. That was the then scene and then the now scene. And I'm really focusing more scene of the week on the then scene. But the now scene's kind of important also because it shows how Carol just totally screws Negan over. That he had put his trust in. And what is she doing? I love the line they're repeating both between Carol and Daryl later on. What took you so damn long? What is it with you people in time? Maybe I didn't want to die going into that. Maybe I wanted a chance to get away, to have that other life. So, I mean, I love the opening scene. And the second one, again, was service because it brings us back into now. And there is certainly a lovely overlay with the promises Carol is asking. And now she's kind of like, well, thanks, you did it. You know, if you just want to wait around here until I eventually decide to maybe come back, then I'll talk to people. Otherwise, get out of here. You know, it was just... There's so many, and the frustration with Negan at the end of it. There's nothing he can do. He's not going to grab Carol and drag her back or anything. It's just like, I mean, again, and starting the episode right there at that frustration and just, oh my God, everything that I have done. It was perfect. It was a great duality in scenes right there. So, yeah, hell of a way to open an episode. So, yeah, let's actually stick with Negan. We'll do the Negan-Daryl adventures, which I said I really kind of enjoyed. And again, there was something they did really well was the pacing. Everything kept moving very quickly, and that was something that was really nice with the Negan scenes. First thing he does, okay, Carol's gone, go back to Lydia, somebody else that he can probably connect with. Of course, she has escaped, as we well know, and who is waiting for him there but Daryl. Which could be the immediate death of Negan right there. Daryl, obviously not a big fan. And they've been playing a lot with the resurgence of sort of a repeat of the Negan introduction. We had, of course, the other episode where they were trying to escape Hilltop with all of the kids, and the roads were blocked, and we had the guys, the walkers hanging, and that had Daryl going, oh, it's Negan, he's working with them. So we brought that kind of back here. We, of course, had Michonne's whole kind of flashback last episode of going through and imagining what if she was working with the Saviors, what if she hadn't joined up with Rick and had gone on to the other side. So we're hitting a lot of those points, and we really hit them later on, which we'll touch on in a second. But obviously, Daryl, no reason to have any love, trust, or respect for Negan. So the fact that he didn't just kill him outright, but to look for an answer, at least giving Daryl some credit. And it does start this just great dynamic reaction of Negan just trying to be straight. Whoa, man, I had her here. She was space. Of course I got her out of the way so that they wouldn't find her. And I love the line, that's why your girlfriend let me out of jail. Little Carol Daryl action there. Anyway, it was a great setup, and of course set up the dynamic between them, which played out throughout the episode and sort of back and forth. Obviously, we had hit upon the point that not killing kids or endangering children or anything like that was definitely something Negan did not want to do. That was the one reticence about going out and doing this whole engagement with Alpha, which of course Daryl kind of threw back with him. It's a lot of kids almost died because of you. And there was, again, sometimes acting is a subtle thing, and it is often best done without words. I mean, words are great. They can fill out thoughts and so on, but reactions, sometimes the small internal bits can be the bigger ones. And I loved Jeffrey Dean's Morgan. You felt the impact of that hit when Daryl said it. It was like, oh, it's so against his grain, his philosophy on things. It was just, there was just really nice moments seeing how these characters are evolving and changing over the years. And of course, we got to the big thing, where, of course, they get discovered by the Whisperers, who now proclaim Negan as the new Alpha, since he was responsible for the death of the last one. Again, a nice, great reversal. We have no idea what the internal politics of the Whisperers are in, lines of succession and anything like that. So maybe there's just, these are the Whisperers, like, just, well, this is what we do, right? There's an Alpha. If he took out the Alphas, it was kind of perfect. It was just minions reacting to the world around them. But of course, it does give us our great reversal of Daryl. And Negan now, Daryl's the one tied up and Negan, isn't it? Where we hit, again, sometimes symbolism can be a little more subtle than they're doing here. Like I said, they already did the Negan Road thing. We had the Michonne flashback in with the Saviors, and now we basically get the repeat of Negan and Daryl. Daryl on his knees. Negan, okay, he doesn't have the bat. He's getting a shotgun, ready to take him out that night. Which really, for this show, a dangerous thing to do, because they lost a lot of viewers after that. This show, like what was it, 12 million? I think it was 7 million was the next episode, like a 5 million viewer drop, something like that. Maybe it was 17 and 12. It was a huge number, obviously, and the show's been sort of losing viewers season by season after that. So it was I think it was a very risky move to bring this right back up with the audience, something that was so viscerally impactful to us. And yeah, maybe Negan shouldn't have played with it quite that much. But we knew that it was a setup. I mean, we knew that it was set up. I believed, and I loved the whole get with the gun. Wait a minute, if I'm the Alpha, why do you have the gun? Give me that. That's all right. And just the back and forth. You better kill me. Don't tease me with a good time. I love Negan's lines. And then, bam, bam, click, punch, dupe, stab. Perfect reversal. And then ending the scene, Daryl just standing there like, cut me loose, a-hole. Again, these are the fun dynamics. So it was a great little arc. And then, of course, we get the final little bit right there at the end with the two of them just sort of sitting and kind of having that moment. Does this make them friends? No. But maybe they're not enemies anymore. And then even Negan kind of opening up to Daryl right there. You know, when I said that I enjoyed it, I wasn't entirely wrong about this. You know, yeah, he let me loose. When I went up with Alpha, man, I felt good. I was needed. I was respected. You know, Negan action going there. But Alpha goes too far. You don't kill people that don't deserve killing, and you never kill kids. Negan's basic philosophy. That's supposed to make me like you? No. What about my winning personality? Again, great energy, great dynamics, and it was a perfect end of just Daryl getting up and walking away. Yeah, now they're together. It was a perfect transition. Didn't need the come on, didn't need anything else like that. That would have all been too much. The perfect, don't need minimal dialogue, maximum storytelling. And I think they did that quite well here. So, of course, while the two of them are wandering around the forest, generally looking for Carol, I believe, we of course have Carol looking to head out of town, but being haunted by the ghost of Alpha. And again, there were some really nice scenes in with this. I think it was the first one where Alpha's asking, "What do you want?" and kind of poking and prodding and everything like that. It was a really great bit. There were some just really nice moments, both of Carol kind of trying to ignore Alpha and, you know, again, that hunting sort of getting through, trying not to respond on like any of this and push her to the back of her mind as much as she possibly could. But it keeps hitting on that. And of course, being haunted by her own brain, there's no way to hide from that. Which I think is something Alpha specifically says. You're not getting away from me. If you know it, I know it. And if I know it, then you definitely know it. Again, the internal thought process is sort of haunting. And like I said, we have seen this with Carol before, that she does badassery stuff and then she steps away and she completely sort of loses it. And this is sort of her process. And for the most part, I liked a lot of this. Again, I like the dynamic between Alpha and Carol. I love those discussions. I love the sort of internal dialogue, the internal haunting of what's going on. My only real kind of downside is it almost went on too long. It was almost dragged out too long. But they did do a great reversal that I didn't expect. When she gets into the cabin and she's storing and she's pushing things out and then she falls and the cabin collapses on top of her, at that point, yes, we have Daryl and Negan wandering through the forest. I'm expecting that they're going to come across her, even as the requisite walker starts crawling closer to it again. This is the stuff I was like, yeah, of course there's going to be a walker right there, and that's why she's trapped, and this is going to be the near death. I mean, you can see where the scene is going on. But she wasn't saved. And I have to say, I really like that. I mean, there's a lot of loaded weight with this whole section. The episode itself, when you title an episode, look at the flowers for Walking Dead, that is very specific what it says. That is a very loaded title because that was a very powerful episode. It was a huge turning point for Carol. So yeah, revisiting that, it does sort of make sense. In fact, if she wants to die and the walker coming for her, sure, I get the idea of repeating those lines. Just look at the flowers and count, you know. It's loaded, and I was really curious how they're going to play that out. And I think they ended up working. The fact is, I think it worked best because Carol saved herself. It wasn't a last moment Daryl shooting with his crossbow and taking out the walker and then pulling her up like, oh my God, I was so worried about you. What happened? You know, and that kind of thing. Carol snapped out of it herself while she's doing the whole look at the flowers, and she's just doing the count. 1, 2, 3, and then pops her shoulder out, drags herself out, still takes out the walker with a dislocated shoulder. That's Carol, man. So they ended it really nice. And even at the very end, where they had her return to Alexandria, and the gate opens up, and it's just Carol, and Daryl's right there. And they don't need to say anything. Everything's understood, and it comes back in. Again, less dialogue sometimes is better. So, Yeah, I mean, there's not a whole lot to that outside of just, the haunting of choices and the naming of everyone that Carol has lost and that type of thing. I mean, again, it was good internal battle there. I just liked the fact that they didn't have her be rescued, that she pulled it out herself and was able to come back on her own 2 feet. I really respect that as a choice. So, of course, the other person being haunted by Alpha is Beta himself, now in charge. Now ready to be in charge from the very beginning, as our Whisperer tries to proclaim, you are the new Alpha. Not ready to face that. And certainly that guy has to realize Whisperers don't... The talking is not a good idea for them. That tends to get them in trouble a lot. Certainly this guy, what's she saying? Listen to her just pushing his face up to Alpha's disembodied biting head. That's nasty. I love that sort of head movement that was going on throughout the episode too. We of course got Carol's got the head. She puts it on the spike. Was wondering if it was the same spike as Henry's, but I think Henry was at the end and not in the middle there. And then, of course, Daryl and Eugene going back, and the head's gone, because Beta has it now, because that's his new buddy. Buddy in a bag is what Alpha's head is now. And again, they kind of pushed an interesting journey on with Beta. Now, Mary in the comments a couple weeks ago was mentioning that Beta was a singer in a band. This was Half Moon, which we find out a lot more about today. So that was kind of a cool little reminder, and it was like the fact that he sort of embraced into that kind of world himself. We had the one Whisperer a couple weeks ago, who after he killed Gamma, was the one that's saying, "I thought that was you. I thought I recognized the voice." Now, I of course had thought at the time that maybe this is somebody back in the treatment center or something, but no, it was a fan, and a fan that has been collecting stuff from Beta's band. So as Beta walks back into town and, Buddy in a bag points him in this direction, he gets to go in and sort of gets to re-experience his whole life. And this was sort of, basically his arc is sort of understanding that he himself was an alpha back in the day. Leader of a band, lead singer of a band. It's a country band, but still a band. I'm kidding. With followers and people, and it was kind of a cool moment when he goes back in and he sees this record, and you see there's sort of a battle internal of what he's going to do, and then it's like the excitement, and he puts it on and he listens to it, and then it's of course all the music's drawing the walkers in, but then again he goes to the balcony, he's like in a band, like, yeah man, I got my adoring fans around here. They're all dead, but hey, they're still fans. They're still coming to hear the music. And again, he pulls off half of his face, as sort of a reveal of who he was. So, again, really that's all that we have going on with this, is Alpha, or Beta becoming the new Alpha, recognizing who he was, accepting that back into himself, and using that to move forward, which is the whole thing with Alpha at the end, when he's, thank you. It was Alpha that showed him, that reminded him who he was. And in a way, it gives him the permission to become the new Alpha, which was in a perfect symbolism bit, where he takes the half of her face and puts it on. So we get that great final shot of him now as the Alpha leading the horde with half of his old face and half of Alpha's face, because it's shaved and clean, it's like half a baby face with the old face. Really gave a nice creepy image, I think. But was a nice, again, just a nice little story arc there of Beta remembering who he was, embracing that, and now becoming the new leader of Hell's Army there. He's not going to be around for that long, we know that, right? But still, cool moments. Alright, and of course, Eugene heading out to meet Stephanie. And again, another great thing. From the beginning of the episode, they go, okay, let's do this. We get it up, we say our goodbyes, and we go. Everything moved so nicely in this episode. I love good pacing. But yeah, and I guess that's why we had our conversation between Eugene and Carol, the other episode, which I thought was sort of just stuck in the middle of a fleeing from a hilltop moment. So they could just get onto it. Could they have used that discussion between Eugene and Carol in the beginning of this episode, tighten it up? Maybe. But it did allow them to at least go, hey, tell everyone, this is the situation. Love, of course, Ezekiel backing him up. There are a lot of questions from everyone. And again, it was all very natural. I love the fact that it wasn't like, oh, yeah, you have someone. Or the opposite of, oh, my God, Kayla, what are you talking about? We're going to be attacked. There were questions, and I think legitimate questions, and I think that they were legitimately asked, not in necessarily an accusatory tone. There was, of course, concern, and again, it moved quickly. I love Ezekiel coming in saying, hey, maybe you should let us know beforehand, but we trust you, so why don't you tell us what's going on? And then they got a chance to skip a lot of that and go right to the, okay, we're leaving. Again, we have Magda and Nico kind of finishing up their split. Nico offering Magda to go first, and then Nico deciding to go herself. Again, nice. Eugene is, of course, going. And Ezekiel. Nice. God, I love that nice. So much I love Jerry. I love that last little goodbye between Jerry and Ezekiel. You know, Jerry's concerned. I don't want you to go. And then, you know, kind of acceptance of that. People need to know, that was the lie, people need to know, we're going to need a man that built a kingdom in the middle of the apocalypse. Is that Jerry's line? Anyway, no, that was Nico's line later on in that great speech. And again, a lot of great moments. They're messing up a little bit ahead. But basically, Jerry's goodbye, which was awesome. See you around, Ba. Ezekiel. It's kind of sweet. It was just sweet. And then we get our nice journey. And I mean, it was good. They went far in a short period of time. I think that's sort of the idea they were placing. They were certainly some of the first places that we see are things that we haven't seen before. But this mission really, in many ways, was Ezekiel going highly symbolic, especially when his horse goes down. I mean, we're seeing, of course, that Ezekiel is slowly losing it. That his strength and all is going. He's got a giant gourd in his back. A couple of walkers that shouldn't have been a problem for him nearly take him out. So we're seeing how he is beginning his fall dramatically. So his horse dying, again, total symbolism right there. Oh, you're hurt. You don't need to worry about the pain anymore. It's all going to be okay. You might as well have someone telling Ezekiel this on his deathbed. The symbolism was a little heavy-handed on this scene, but it worked. It told the story. And then, of course, again, we get Nico coming up, giving that speech. You got to be with us. We're going to need you. We need somebody that built a kingdom in the apocalypse. It just sweet, great motivating moment there. So again, I really enjoyed this. Now, once they get to town, to me, well, I guess even before they get into town, that was interesting. We get the cages, the walker traps. We're seeing something we haven't seen any before. I mean, we saw something kind of like this with Morgan back in Clear, way back in the day. But this, again, a little bit more, a little bit something. We see the town. Not a lot of cars on the road. There should be more cars on the road. I mean, who's going to pull off all of these cars? But as we get into the city, we are seeing that there are significant changes. It's not like Atlanta was before the last time that we had seen, or any of the large cities. It's not these impactful of cars and torn up. Things are kind of clean. There's not a lot of walkers. In fact, there's no walkers initially until we start seeing zombie art, which is awesome. Cute little scenes made up with walkers. You got them at a table, you got people playing chess, you got people driving cars and getting a ticket, which is, of course, where Ezekiel loses it, and appropriately so. Finding humor in the walker apocalypse, that's a good thing to find. And then, of course, we finally meet Is it Stephanie or not? I mean, the voice didn't sound the same on the radio, but I don't know. Obviously, quick intro. Hi, there you are, guys. Very excited to meet. It's all very shocking. You just get the bolo around here. We've got all the... It might have been an over-the-top intro from a character standpoint of, there you are, guys. Hi! But what it does very effectively is show us a different world automatically. This is something going on that no one is used to seeing. Clean streets in the city? Walkers being used as performance art? I mean, it's so odd, but it's so different, and I think that was the best thing that they did with this, is to show us this from the get-go, from a visual representation. This is a different world with different people doing different things, and that can only be good. All right, just a couple of small things. Some good lines in this episode. We, of course, have Beta's note that he finds, "These two eyes see one truth." Obviously, it's a line from one of his songs, and it's sort of symbolic of seeing the world has changed and where he is, where he was, and where he is. So again, it's kind of a motivating factor for him through his little arc on this, accepting who he was, the one truth, and everything. So it's, again, kind of a neat moment there. Another good one was when Ezekiel and Nico are talking about what the purpose of their journey is, and it goes up this whole thing about chocolate buddies and could we find a candy store and things like this, which, those are talks that you would have in the zombie apocalypse. But I just love how he all sums it up, Are you on a mission for this? No, we're on a journey for the future of mankind. But candy would be nice. Ain't that the truth all the time? Alright, and let's get to a couple of fan questions. First one comes from Alex. Hey, Alex! Always good to hear from you. Who's basically asked, how am I doing? Well, I'm doing good. Thank you for asking. Trying to survive this COVID action. I am in California. We are in lockdown. Cannot leave my place until at least the 19th of April. I mean, outside of getting food and stuff like this. So, yeah, I'm getting a lot of stuff done around the house. My daughter is loving it. She's been on Xbox for like a week and a half now, so she's just having a blast. Bit of introverts here in the family, so not having to go out is not that bad of a thing. But mostly, everything is fine. Again, the real concern, obviously, with me and everyone else from a financial standpoint, are we going to pay our bills? I can't go to work. I had to shut down my business. I'm a massage therapist. It's my day-to-day stuff that I do. Had a business for 17 years. Can't do any of it. So that sort of sucks. But hopefully with the stuff that's going through the federal government, and the state is doing some stuff as well, my whole hope is basically we all bite the bullet and do it right now. What would upset me, and I think for a lot of people, is if we do several weeks of being quarantined, basically, and that doesn't solve things, and we have to do it again or for a longer period of time. That's when things will really start to hurt. So, yeah, I'm surviving all right. Thank you for asking. I hope you guys are doing all right as well. It's a crazy time, but of course, if we're good to each other, follow the Walker Apocalypse example. If we're good to each other, support each other, everything's going to be fine. We go after each other, it all falls apart. Other question was from Pelican Mike, who was asking my opinion on these upcoming Rick movies for Walking Dead. What are we expecting? I don't think it's going to be something big. Is it going to be just... Honestly, I don't really know what to expect. It's been a long period of time. They're going to have to do a reason of why Rick is where he is and why he hasn't come back. 6, 7 years, I think was the term that they were using. A long time. So there's a lot of stuff that they do have to sort of cover on that. I'm hoping there are going to be good, solid stories and not just, as Pelican Mike sort of implied in his question, is it just going to be a spin-off machine? Are we just going to start creating little movies and characters and then spin this group off and then have another little adventure and then maybe spin this group off? I'm hoping not. I know AMC has a plan like, Walking Dead is never going to end and we can keep doing this for decades. If you do it well, you can. If you don't. So, I mean, I don't have a whole lot of expectation. I just need them to tell a really good, logical story of where he is and why he hasn't come back. And of course, my obvious sense of mission is ultimately that would be his goal, to come back, and these would be the things that would be stopping him. That's sort of what I'm expecting to see. With Michonne going out and doing that, is she going to meet up with Rick and have those adventures together, or is she going to have a whole separate set? And that's also part of my concern, is now we're just going to have people doing individual movies here and here and here and spin-offs over here. Oversaturated, and quality always goes down. So my hope for the movies, they take the time and tell good, solid, concise stories that make sense and don't have us having to go back and retcon stuff because they're making things up that doesn't fit with the world they've already established. Holy shnikes, I just looked at the clock and saw how long I was going. I'm trapped in the house, folks. I got nothing else to do but talk to you. But it's long enough. We should go ahead and wrap things up now. So, like I said, next week is going to be the last episode of the season. Well, until we eventually get to the season finale. So no season finale scheduled for 2 weeks from now. That's pushed out. Season's going to end next week. If it's anything like the previous seasons, some of the second to last episodes have played almost like a season finale, so maybe we won't lose a whole lot. I don't know. Again, we have to sort of see how that all plays out. And I will be right back here to talk about it when it does. Thank you guys, as always, for joining me with these reviews. And if you enjoyed them, of course, I appreciate it if you hit that like button. Thoughts, ideas, and comments, throw those down in the section below. What do you guys think about this episode? What do you think where things are going? What are you expecting to see with Eugene's new adventures in the new town? And what about Beta as the new alpha? Are we going to have another long drawn-out war, or do you think this is going to be a big one-shot deal? Let me know your thoughts. Throw those down in the section below, as well as, of course, any fan questions you have. You can always catch me on Twitter and Instagram. I am at Darren Jakes. Please subscribe. I know we're almost done with Walking Dead, but we still have Westworld Season 3. That review will be dropping a little bit later on. And, of course, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. coming up this summer. Don't want to miss those reviews. You won't if you're a subscriber. Do that by clicking this button right here. And we'll go ahead and throw up a couple of our latest reviews right here for you to check out. So, that's going to be it for me. I'm D, and I'm out of here. Catch you guys next time. Bye-bye.